Namaste. Welcome back to yet another edition of the TV show called Leadership Through Communication. Today I have two very eminent international speakers with me. One is Toastmaster Seema Golcha, who is the first ventriloquist in Nepal that I know of. And she's been performing in India for many shows. And she's been a Toastmaster for the past 11 years. The other guest we have today is Dr. Rita Singh. Dr. Rita Singh is the Vice President of Nepalese Society of Implant Dentistry. She's been a dentist for the past 19 years and has been a Toastmaster for 6 years. Welcome to the show, Toastmaster Seema. Welcome to the show, Toastmaster Rita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Moon.
So, Toastmaster Seema, what is it that you actually do? What is ventriloquist?
Ventriloquism. It's kind of difficult to pronounce. So what I tell people is how to remember this name is you have a triloque in between. I have done the study of three worlds, the hell, heaven and earth. That's why it's ventriloquist. That's how you remember. It's basically throwing voice. I have a puppet and I show that make you believe that this is another person and that's not me talking. And during our conversation, basically we're cracking jokes and pulling each other's legs. It's actually me doing all the talking. And
your hand, can you show something?
Yeah, actually I can. I do have a backup puppet. I'll just quickly show you. So what I do is I have this, hey, how you doing, Toastmaster Noon and Toastmaster Rita? So yeah, that's my instant puppet.
That's really nice.
Thank you.
Is that a boy or a female? What is it?
Hey, there's my skirt. Okay, I'll get you your skirt. Oh, look at that. Isn't that lovely? Yes, it is. So that's my instant skirt. Oh. Can you hurry up? She hasn't got all day. Yeah, okay. Now how do I look?
That's really nice.
Thank you.
So is this what you do when you go internationally?
Yeah, that's what I do. Can I go back in? Yeah, you can go back. Can I put him back inside?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
That was Toastmaster Seema. How about you, Toastmaster Rita? Because she apparently makes people smile. And you obviously make people smile.
Yes, almost similar, isn't it, Seema? I also use my right hand, but then I'm a periodontist. For past 19 years, I've been practicing in Kathmandu, and I have a clinic in Kamal Pokhari. It's called OraCare, and I'm the MD, the Motivational Director, because I love to motivate my team, and that's what I've learned from Toastmasters.
Yeah, that brings us to Toastmasters, obviously. Both of you are Toastmasters, have been Toastmasters for a few years. You have gone international in doing this ventriloquism.
You got it.
And also stand-up comedy. Has being a Toastmaster helped you in life or in whatever you do?
Absolutely. I was able to find this calling through Toastmasters, because I didn't know I could speak on stage. I was petrified of stage 11 years ago. I still am scared of stage, but not so much now. And it's amazing what Toastmasters has taught me since the last 11 years. I can tell you more, but do we have the time?
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's taught me, other than just speaking and talking to people or making an impression, the smaller nuances of Toastmasters, what you learn, what we don't realize is how we respect time. When you're given a time, you're supposed to be able to convey your message or your speech within that given, no matter how good a speaker you are. If you're not able to convey your message in that much time, it doesn't serve the purpose. The other thing I've learned is you have to work really hard in every speech or every comedy show that you do equally, irrespective of the time or the 5 minute, or it could be an hour. But what I've realized that you have to give in. If you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So that's what I have learned in Toastmasters. I have to practice every show. People may think that, okay, I've done so many now, you must be confident. But no, I don't take it lightly or take it for granted. I give it as much effort and time, yeah.
And that shows, obviously.
Yeah, I guess.
And Dr. Rita, you've also gone international. I've seen that you've been speaking in conferences, taking classes in I don't know how many countries. How has Toastmasters helped you reach this height?
As they say, your human brain, it starts working the moment you're born and stops when you stand up and have to speak to the public. I remember a meeting about 10 years back when I was asked to talk to the students and the parents about oral hygiene. And I thought, oh, very easy, something very close to my heart. And I went up the stage. And the butterflies in my stomach, they were just not stopping. My mouth went dry. I thought it was such an easy topic, and yet I was so nervous. And that's how I started. But today, if I'm given an opportunity to go up on stage, I will grab it because I love to, give my presentation, because it gives that opportunity to inspire and influence people. As a dentist, when you may be doing very good work, but it's just confined to your patient and you. But then when you have this stage, you can really inspire people and touch so many lives. And that has been a gift of Toastmasters to me.
That's really wonderful to know. Toastmaster, I know that you appeared on TEDx Darbar Marg,
Yes.
and I hear that you prepared in a very short time. Can you tell me something about that?
Yes, this is one of the most important moment of my life when 2 days before a TEDx speech Darbar Marg, I was asked to do a speech. And I was nervous, I wasn't sure, but then I realized if I'm a Toastmaster, all TEDx speakers, they get 2 months prior notice to prepare their 18 to 20 minute speech. Here I had confirmed, because one speaker had dropped out last minute, and on a Thursday evening, I was asked if I could do a speak for a Saturday morning event. And what I had learned in my entire Toastmasters career or life, about 11 years, that time 10 years, I put everything into that one speech, in that TEDx speech. And in my attempt of trying to inspire people, I think I landed up inspiring myself. I was amazed at myself that I was able to pull it off in a day, a TEDx speech. So yeah.
And I was laughing my guts out.
Okay, thank you. I thought I was inspiring.
Yeah, I did hear from more people who did attend that TEDx that you were really good and you spoke really well.
Yeah.
So it is that Toastmasters helps in inspiring people, motivating people, and going and speaking in a crowd and reaching out to more people, it seems. Yeah. So as women also, today it's very interesting that all three of us are seated here, women. And you have reached your height not because you're a woman or not despite the fact that you are a woman. Can you please, I will start with Dr. Rita, can you please tell me how has it been being a dentist, and that too specializing in oral implantology and heading some of the societies? How has it been as a woman also?
I think it has been a wonderful journey. In Nepal, if you ask me, I need to be very honest, there has not been even a single moment where I feel that I'm less privileged because I'm a woman. Very strangely. In fact, I think more than a barrier, it's a boon, because women are supposed to be compassionate, and I think most of the patients, they prefer women dentists. And if you see, my team is 97% dentists, because we are compassionate and we probably take details very carefully. So I think it's not at all, it has not been difficult at all because I'm a woman. But of course, when I go to the international conferences, sometimes I do speak that all the speakers are just male speakers. Of course, I get to rub my shoulders, with the who's and who's of dentistry, but somehow I miss that women connections, that sisterly connection there, and that is why there is a group called Divas in Dentistry, which has been formed just last year. Next year in Croatia, there is a conference, and guess what? I'm going to talk about the crafts of public speaking. It's the first time that I'm going to talk about non-dental topic in a dental conference, and I hope I can justify my role there.
I'm sure you will.
How about you? You actually come from a Marwari family, a woman, not only coming out and speaking in public, but going international with that, and the first ventriloquist in the country. What's your experience as a woman also?
So I was a housewife for the longest time, and I found this in my early 40s, that I was able to entertain people on a larger scale. And when I started going to India, I realized there are very few female comics. In fact, they're known as female comics. Because a comedian is a comedian. Why does it have to be specified as a male comic or a female comic? Yeah, there are a lot more girls coming up, like as in late teens or early 20s. But the advantage that I have had, what I have noticed is firstly the age, because I'm able to be like she said also, to empathize with people or the audience. So I have had my audiences from 4-year-olds, a class of 100, a hall of 100 4-year-olds, 4 to 5-year-olds in Bombay, to my largest audience, or the age-wise, was 65 to 90-year-olds. So somehow being at this age, I'm able to relate to this, like the kids, as well as because I think about my parents or my grandparents. So I have to design my script or my content according to the age, because Toastmasters has taught me, know your audience. That's the most important thing, irrespective of how funny you are. Even if one person in the audience get offended, or if you're pulling that person's leg, or if they do not get it, you have to be appropriate again. You have to realize what age group who you're targeting, who you're talking to. So accordingly, then I'll change my script. And you learn over a period of time. So I don't know, I have been at a very good space. At this age, I'm also at peace with myself. So being a woman, I think, is kind of an advantage.
So both of you have said that being a woman has been an advantage for both of you.
Yeah.
And being a Toastmaster has also been
Absolutely.
an advantage. So even though we do say and we do fight for women's right and women's empowerment, we today are saying that being a woman is an advantage. I know that Toastmaster Rita, you are also somehow associated with organizations who are working for women's empowerment. How has your experience been working for women?
Well, I think it's wonderful because it's so easy to motivate women, and I think because they are so detail oriented, I feel whenever I'm taking the interviews, I'm so biased. When women are there, I'm already kind of looking forward to having them. So my team, it's mostly women, and I think I really enjoy the environment because you don't feel that you're working. There's a lot of chit chat happening, and we talk about makeups, we talk about other things. It's fun. You don't really feel you're going to office.
I just asked Toastmaster Rita about motivating women. I would like to ask you, for women who might want to go into business or start something that others haven't done, because you did something that nobody had most probably thought about doing in the country, what would you like to say to them?
So I would want to tell all the women or the girls that you have to find that one passion that is you, not because somebody else is doing it, not because you have been asked to or forced to do it, but something that defines you. Just go for it. Irrespective of, again, people telling you what to do, what not to do, or circumstances may discourage you, people may discourage you, just ignore all of that. Go with your heart, go and just give your 100%.
Now, Dr. Rita, I would like to ask you, however, about what would you like to say to girls who want to hone public speaking skill? Since earlier you had talked about giving a speech about public speaking also, and whether, if we want to tell girls why they should join Toastmasters also, what would you like to say to them?
Toastmasters, the kind of trainings that we have in there, the experience, it is useful for daily life. It's not just for stage, I would say. For example, if I'm holding a meeting every Friday in my clinic, when we have the meeting, I make sure that I involve all the team members to interact. That's what we learn in Toastmasters. And the evaluation, how we give for the speeches, that's exactly how I utilize to give a feedback to my team members again. If there's something that I want them to improve, of course I start with a positive thing and then squeeze in that very important factor and then again wrap up with a positive way. So Toastmasters kind of help us in so many different ways to talk to patients. Forget women or men. I think public speaking, communication is so important in everyday life, and it's not just the communication, it's also the leadership. which is required in all the facets of life. And somehow in Toastmasters, knowingly or unknowingly, we become leaders. And leaders do not have to be only like in the political leaders. It can be a mother, it can be a boss. So it trains us to be a good leader. So communication, leadership, and public speaking, you have a good package, that you get through the Toastmasters. So why not grab it?
Yeah.
So as you might have noticed, when I started, I introduced both of you as international speakers. I know that you stood on a stage which is very famous and hosts very famous people. Would you like to say something about that?
Yes, of course. So I was going to the US during my daughter's spring break to New York, and I wanted to do a spot. Now my thing is, wherever I travel, I want to at least be on the stage, even if it's for 7 to 10 minutes. And through my contacts of Indian comedy stage, that is the Canvas Love Club, I got a 10-minute spot in Gotham Comedy Club in New York, which is like the mecca of comedy of the world. And for me, that was huge. It was a Tuesday evening, and there were about 10 local comics they were all Americans, but from different states. For me, the challenge here was, I was a complete outsider. I didn't have any Indian audience in my in the room, and my material was probably could have been unrelatable to them totally. Anyway, so I went on stage, and here I was with the entire American audience and giving in and obviously my accent is different. Both are accents, my puppet and mine. For them to be able to understand both of us was a challenge, but I pulled it off. That's not enough. After my 8 to 10 minutes, the producer called me and I said, "You were really good. Your technique was good," and obviously they have seen few ventriloquists, and so it was really good. He asked me when I'm coming back, so that was I was able to get that confidence and courage to be on stage because of Toastmasters. And if that's not enough, just half an hour, 15 minutes into the show, when the others were still performing, because I was second in the audience, in the row, there were 2 surprise guest comedians. I was in absolute, my jaw dropped when I saw Jay Leno and Jerry Seinfeld walk in, and they had performed. They were the guest artists in that show where I had just performed and stepped down. So yeah, even though they missed my bit, but I can say that I performed with the 2 legends of comedy. Yes.
Yes. So I can say that Toastmaster Seema, who performed on the same stage at the same time, along with Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno.
Yes.
Yay.
That's
really good.
Yeah, so that was my moment of fame, or my little highlight of my life, I would say.
I'm sure that's not the end, and more is to come.
Now it is, the day will come when we perform together, when they don't miss my bit, and they will realize that it's not their loss, we are on the same level someday.
And one day they'll say
we want to become like you.
Yeah, they might say, Seema may have missed our show, but we got to see her.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's hope so. And Dr. Rita, you're no less. I know that you have given speeches and talked in conferences across Europe, Asia, and the US. Would you like to share some experience for yours also?
Well, when you prepare for the presentations, like Seema said, it's not easy. You really work for months and months. You have to actually go through the scientific papers, see what the latest updates are. You really have to prepare your content, your delivery, everything. It looks very glamorous on Facebook probably, but it's not. So I was going to the US, and when you have the US audience, you of course know that they are there, and English is not our first language. So last month when I was in US, in New York, I was a little nervous because there were amazing speakers. But when I finished mine, I happened to get a message from one of the speakers, and she said, "I want to become like you."
Wow.
And that was I could not believe it, as somebody who's so fluent in English and still telling that to me. And yet another presentation after that I had in Europe, wherein from Toastmasters I have learned how to put a theme to your presentation.
Yes.
So what I had done is Nepal was my theme. So I began with the Nepalese thing. So whenever I had to talk about dentistry part, wherein you engineer something, like for example, I had a slide showing Bhaktapur pottery, or if it was about the revision surgery, I had reconstruction picture of the temples after the earthquake. So when I finished my presentation, there were people coming up to me and saying, when is the best time to visit Nepal? When is the conference in Nepal? We want to come.
Oh, wow.
And I felt so proud because of Toastmasters again.
Yeah, that's really nice. So if you bring the Toastmasters conference in 2020, you will be contributing not only to dentistry, not only to dentistry in Nepal, but also to visit Nepal 2020.
Yes,
Yes.
that was my last slide, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So here you are, two wonderful women who have reached your heights in your own fields.
Reaching heights, not reached yet.
Yes,
Thank you.
we are still
Yes, thank you
climbing.
for, thank you for
Yes.
correcting me, and I'm sure you're going to reach even greater heights. And that too, as you both said, irrespective of the fact whether you are a female or a male, just as you are, as a ventriloquist and as a
Periodontist.
periodontist. That's a mouthful. Both of you doing what you're doing is a mouthful for us. But you are bringing smiles on the faces of the people, either by giving them a smile or bringing a smile on their face. That's really wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you, for having come to the show today. And thank you for having graced us here. I'm sure one of these days, I will have to wait for a long time to just get an appointment to have you on the show. I hope I don't have to wait that long.
We are way too committed to Toastmasters for that. You can always get us.
Yes, every week we will be
Yeah.
meeting anyways, Toastmaster Moon. It was lovely talking to you here.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I would like to make a
Toast.
toast.
Here's to both of you.
Thank you.
So that was Toastmaster Seema and Toastmaster Rita Singh, or I must say Dr. Rita Singh. Both of them reaching their own heights and getting us some recognition not only in Nepal but also internationally. If you want to meet them, do come and join Toastmasters one of these days. Thank you for having watched this show. See you again next week. Namaste.